Hi, this is Mike Maloney, and yesterday there was an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal. Venezuela's inflation rate is set to top 1,600% next year. Now, if you scroll down into the article, there's a couple of charts here. Their source is the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and this one is on Venezuela's GDP rate, so the rate that their economy is either growing or shrinking. And I'm sure that Venezuela does not report accurate numbers, but these are the International Monetary Fund's estimates, and they show 2014 shrinking by almost 4% and 5.7% in 2015, and this year minus 8%. And then they've got projections for 2017 of minus 4.5, 2018 minus 3, 2019 only minus 1. So not much economic shrinkage out in 2019. However, some of their charts sort of disagree with each other. This is a chart of their inflation rate. Now, I would have made this chart sitting on its side so that these bars go up, not sideways. It would be much easier to read. The dates should be going across the bottom, and the inflation rate should be the scale that's on the side. But here they are with the dates going down here. And so the inflation rate was 27% back in the year 2010, 26%, 21%, 39%, 2014 was 62%, 2015 was 121%, and the estimate for 2016, 481%, and then it's supposed to get worse in 2017, 18, and 19. Almost 3,500% inflation is what the IMF is predicting for the Venezuelan bolivar. Now, I don't think the Venezuelan bolivar will exist in 2019. These things usually progress at a logarithmic rate, and this will probably be a whole lot higher than 3,500%. And then they have a chart on the bottom of unemployment. And the unemployment rate, again, these are probably dummied up numbers from Venezuela that the IMF is using here, but they go from 7.4% last year and a jump to 17.4% this year. And in 2019, they're expecting 26%. Now, about 25% or so, these are Great Depression type unemployment rates, 25, 26%. However, I think it's going to be worse than that because hyperinflations, and that is what Venezuela is going into. This is a hyperinflation already. It just has not finished yet. It's going to get worse. Hyperinflations cause businesses to just go upside down. They can't figure out which way is up because things like allowing a customer to pay in 30 days, you're going to get paid with depreciated currency that isn't worth anything. So normal business operations just don't work. You have to borrow and spend quicker than you're paying things. You want to delay payments as long as possible, and you want to borrow and spend as quickly as possible. It's really a world that gets turned upside down. But the possibility of their GDP not contracting even more severely during these peaks of hyperinflation and unemployment should even get worse. But these charts with the IMF's data, I believe, disagree with each other. But it's interesting. In November of 2014, I wrote an article about central banking and economic freedom. And in this article, this was a year and a half ago, I wrote that this is not theory or speculation, it is documented fact. People in the most economically free countries are richer, happier, have a cleaner environment, and live 20 years longer than the least economically free. Venezuela is a prime example. Being one of the world's largest oil exporters, Venezuela is a naturally rich country. In 1980, Venezuela was ranked the 14th most economically free country in the world. But when oil prices fell dramatically in the late 80s, the economy turned down. When the extreme socialist Hugo Chavez took office in 1999, it was decided the government would fix everything by running the economy and began nationalizing many of the country's industries. Now, the nation has fallen from the 14th most economically free to number 152 out of 152 countries measured. Food is scarce, inflation is soaring, corruption is rampant, healthcare is overburdened and crumbling, property rights are almost non-existent, and the middle class is gone. I imagine the next steps will be complete collapse and revolution. Remember, this was November of 2014. I imagine the next steps will be complete collapse and revolution. That's where they are right now. They're in the going into a hyperinflation. There is a risk-reward ratio to revolution. When you become desperate, and the risk of losing your life in a revolution is outweighed by the inability to feed your family. When feeding your family becomes more important than your life, that's the point where revolution becomes possible. Anyway, I went on in here to say managed economies do not work. One need look no further than history's best example of a managed economy, the Soviet Union, or the other great example of the state running everything, Mao's China. If managed economies worked, then these societies would have prevailed, and it would have been capitalism that was relegated to the dustbin of history. Thank you very much for listening. If you got anything from this video, please like it and share it, and we'll see you next time.